Hey, how's it going, everyone? Welcome to Mentor Monday. Mentor Monday is your weekly microdose of encouragement, inspiration, and miracle grow on your potential as a coach. Hey, for those of you who have been around in previous Mentor Mondays, you know the routine. Make sure that you say hello to us. Jump in in the comments right now. Tell us hello. Tell us where you're joining us from, what you're excited about tonight. We want to hear from you. What's always really important to me as we do these things is I'm not really interested in just simply being a talking head. Though I do want to inspire you and encourage you and give you some information that not only will help you develop your coaching practice, but also help you develop as an individual, as a business owner, all of those things. And so that's always really important to us. Do us a huge favor. If these are really helpful for you, make sure that you like and you comment. Both of those actions actually tell Facebook and YouTube that we're doing a good job. And that's really important to us, that we are doing a good job. So let me say hello to a few people who are saying hello to me. There's Diane joining from South Carolina. Welcome. Bobby, who is joining us and says, been waiting for this all day. Oh, I appreciate that. Harvey's joining us with Gloria from South Florida. Welcome. Donnell is joining us from Georgia. Becca from Western Canada. She says hello to everyone. Who else do I need to say hello to? Greg from the Hard Knock State. He's in the Pacific Northwest. Raina from Florida. Tamala from Dallas, Texas. Jones joining us from Bakersfield. Excited about Mentor Monday. Cool. Dan is joining us from Minneapolis. Adrienne from Canada in Toronto. Looking forward to this evening's training. Tammy is joining us from Tuscaloosa. Lynn joining us from Vermont. And who else do I need to say hello to? Bill joining us from Texas. Romeo from Maine. Welcome, Romeo. Anybody else like to say hello? If you're just making it in, what I always try to do is just say hello to everybody who's in here. And also, we always answer any questions that come up. Even if I get into like the flow and I'm training, we're always going to get back and answer any questions that you have over here as well. Carolyn is joining us from Canada as well, also in Toronto. That's so good. Montague joining us from Stafford, Virginia. Excited about pushing past external barriers and breaking my years of self-hindering mindset. Very good. So good. And who else is that? Faye from Atlanta, Georgia. Saw some of our friends from Atlanta this weekend in Cincinnati, of all places. Claire's joining us from New York. Awesome. Well, we have a lot to do today. So I'm going to actually not delay us any at all with regard to what we're talking about tonight. You know, one of the things that's always really important to us, personally to me, and it's a passion for me to really help coaches not just get the skills of coaching. There's plenty of schools that you can go to, plenty of information out there that you can find out about coaching skills. What you find out once you start a coaching practice is it's about 10% the skills that you learned in school. It's 90% business. And that was a rude awakening for me when I spent thousands of dollars to get trained and certified as a coach. And I'm like, okay, how do I get a client? And they gave me none of that information, but they gave me plenty of stuff, you know, if once I got a client, but the actual getting a client was really difficult. Then I went and did some other training from another program, walked away with a nice certificate, and they did give me a little bit of marketing stuff to go along the way, but it was terrible. Like it was really, really bad. It was like, so it was a bunch of stock photos of different things, and it didn't look like me at all, and it had part of their branding on it and everything else. And I'm like, okay, where do I even start? And so for me, I started in a library because I had no money left. I was pretty broke at that point. And I'd been as resourceful as I possibly can to get trained and certified as a coach. But by the time it was all said and done, I had no money and I didn't know how to start. So you know what I did is I went to a local library and I started reading as many business books as I could because I had no idea what it took to actually start a business and everything else. We don't want to be a single dimensional school. It's why in our mission statement, it's easy for 4 words. But I always look at it because there's a thing in the background that always is in view of me, that our 4-word mission statement is simply proficient coaches, thriving practices. We want to help you with both. And one of the things that I see a lot are coaches doing things that are probably not actually helping them get clients. And one thing that I will tell you on the front end is that if you're looking around at what other coaches are doing and trying to emulate them, I'm telling you that's always a really, really bad mistake, because there's a lot of coaches who really don't know what they're doing, but they're spending a lot of time on social media and they're trying a lot of different things. And so I just see a lot of coaches doing it really poorly. Doesn't mean that they can't still get some clients along the way, but sometimes they get a client in spite of what they're doing, not because of what they're doing. What I'm going to be doing really over the next 2 months, particularly with our Jumpstart coaches, because we do have a mentoring business development program called Jumpstart. And what I'm going to be doing for this month and next month is walking them through all of the steps of actually doing a successful coaching product launch. I'm going to give you the blueprint of that. Now, here's what I'm going to do tonight. I'm going to give you the intro to that series, and I'm also going to give you even the first week of it next week on Mentor Monday. Because what I really want more than anything, because what's going to happen today is for some of you who have never heard any of the things that I'm talking about. Now, there's some people who are on here tonight that are in our Jumpstart program. So they're going to be the cheerleading section because they know what I'm talking about. I've got some coaches who are on here today that have just even in the last couple of weeks signed high-end clients. So what I want you to know is that what I'm talking about is that I've actually used for me, for my own business to be successful as a coach, but I'm also teaching concepts and principles to our coaches that they can build their coaching and practice around themselves, not around what I do and not around my personality. What I really want you to be able to do is I want you to build your coaching practice around you authentically and be successful, because I believe that you all can. And I believe that people will choose to work with you because of who you are, not because of anything that anybody else is doing. But one of those things that's for certain is that you really do need to put your best foot forward. You need to have your messaging dialed in, and you need to have a real plan of action when it goes when you go about that. Today, what I'm going to help you do is I want to give you a different mindset. I want to give you a different perspective, because some of you really need some lens changes. You're thinking really limited about your business, and that's no fault to you. I did as well. I thought, oh, I'm going to start this coaching practice. It's going to be a nice little side gig. Hopefully it will pay some of the bills that my current job was not paying for. And I can help some people along the way, but I didn't really have a big plan for anything. And I also never thought that I would go full-time in my business, much less that fast forward in the last several years that I've never really worked an 8-hour day since then, like a full-time job or something like that. Those are some of the great things that come out of it, but it comes with starting with a plan. And that plan has got to be maximizing your income potential. And one of the things that you've probably seen a lot of more recently with what coaches are doing is that a lot of coaches are making products, coaching products. And what I want to do today is I want to talk about why people are using them, and do they actually work? And if they do, how does that actually work to help you build your business? Because for some of you who are thinking, I'm just going to get one-on-one clients, well, you've already limited yourself. You're going to level out really quickly, and you're going to wonder why you can't leave that job if you're actually wanting to leave a job to go on to something else. So I'm going to whiteboard this really quickly and give you conceptually really what we're talking about today on the front end, and then I'm going to unpack what do coaching products look like and everything else. But let's start here. For most of you, I know that most of you are going to start out your business, and this is what you're really looking at, honestly. You're looking at becoming a part-time coach, because I understand that you, like I was working a full-time job, and you know what? Family responsibilities did not go away. Taking care of kids did not go away. Any of those other things. When I started my coaching practice, I had a full-time job. I was the sole breadwinner for our family, the only income coming in for our family. And we also had 2 small kids, and my wife had terrible health issues that were going on. And so I was needed. There was a real demand on my life, and I had to keep family number one priority in terms of being there and everything else. But I also needed to fill in the gaps, because my job really wasn't cutting it ultimately, because I was living in California and I would have a decent salary that would have allowed us to get by in other states, but quite frankly, it wasn't cutting it. And so I'm starting out like most of you will, which is a part-time job. Most of you are working full-time jobs, and you're going to be a coach on a part-time basis. And you've got to start out really with a question like this: is how much time do you really have to work with clients on a weekly basis? It's an important question, because I had to ask that question because I also realized that, I had a lot of family demands and everything else. And plus I already worked a full-time job. So, I mean, if we think realistically about this for you right now in your life, you're probably talking about 5 to 10 hours that you're going to get paid for. That's really what we're talking about. 5 to 10 hours. And you know what most of you are thinking about? Most of you are thinking about being a one-on-one coach. If I'm not mistaken, the vast majority of you are thinking about that. So if you are one-on-one, you know what that means? That means that right now you are trading time for money. And that's what you guys have been trained to do your entire life. Give people 40 hours a week. And whether you're getting paid 10, 20, 30, 50, $100, you're trading time for money. It's contingent on you being there and being on the clock and clocking in and all of those other things. And that's one of the big mindsets that I'm always after with my Jumpstart coaches, is that you've got to change that mindset about trading time for money. But I can't fully do that because it's not really my goal today. I just want you to understand is that right now you're thinking, I'm going to coach people one-on-one, which means I'm trading time for money, which means that whatever this is, that 5 to 10 hours that I have to work on my business every week, then what we're really talking about is that I have really, when I say 5 to 10 hours, we're saying is that I not only am I going to be coaching people during that time, I'm also going to be getting clients during that time, right? I mean, let's think about it realistically. Now, the getting clients part, you're not getting paid for, are you? Because you're out there meeting people, sending emails, whatever you're doing to get clients, you're not getting paid for that, right? So really what we're talking about is a maximum. So when we talk about this, what's your fee? We're talking about maybe you have 5 to 10 clients maximum that you can do based on this time. And if you're trading time for money, and this is what most coaches do, most coaches are doing something between $50. They're like doing something like $50 to $100 an hour. That's what most people are doing. So you know what that maximum revenue is for you? If you are on the high end and it's 100, you're talking about an extra $500. Now, if you meet with people weekly and you're working with 5 people a week, what you're really talking about is a maximum of $500 a week, or you're talking about a maximum of maybe $2,000 a month. Now, here's the thing, is that's not bad money. You want to be a part-time coach and you want to do this thing, then all you got to do is to make sure that you have 5 clients at all times. And you know what that ends up meaning? Maximum revenue is $24,000 a year. And you know what? Most people would love to have a side gig where they're doing $24,000 a year. Problem with that is that it's never going to allow you to break free from the grind if that's what you want to do. And the only way that most people think that they can get to more money, and listen, you have to charge at least $100 an hour to get to that. Some of you are doing arbitrary numbers like $20, $50, $75. You don't even have a big time plan for where you're wanting to go. And so what that means is that if you're only charging $50 an hour, you know what? You can cut that in half. You know what that means? That means $12,000 at $50 an hour. So if you're doing that, then that's what you're going to make for the entire year. Now, here's the problem with that. Problem is that this is the maximum amount of time that you have. That means that you have a few hours a week at least that you're not able to make any money off of because you've got to do some things to build your business. So really what we're talking about is that you may have 5 hours a week, and the only way that you can make more money is to up your fee. And most of you as first-year coaches are not going to feel comfortable. Some of you have never made $50 an hour. Most of you have never made $100 an hour. And so some of you are already confronting like, oh, am I even worth it? Can I even charge it? Can I find people who will even pay me this? You're dealing with all these insecurities. And it's for all of these reasons that I see coaches who will either have a failure to launch, or they'll launch, but they'll only manage maybe a couple of clients or something like that. And it's good money, it's a good side gig, but they're never going to truly be able to do their passion until they have a greater plan for something. And this is what I want you to think about with regard to products and how we have a bigger game plan for everything that we're doing. So let me help you understand conceptually what we're talking about with coaching products and how it fits into maximizing your revenue and everything else, okay? So here's what we're talking about. First off, you have to understand the benefits of using coaching products. And the benefits of using coaching products, for one, is that you're going to serve your clients better by adding increased value and benefits to them. This is in addition to, this is besides what you do in the one-on-one realm, that there are ways that you can serve your clients and you can serve them better if you offer other kinds of things to support them. And I'll talk more about how this actually adds value to them, and it does, and you do a better job with your clients when you add these things. Here's the second thing, though. Second thing's incredibly important, is that you build rapport with new and prospective clients. Because what you're going to end up doing in this is that what you're going to see is that the trust that someone develops with you along the way, when somebody starts off, there's a certain level of trust that they might have. You know what? Having means of actually supporting people, having coaching products, not just one-on-one kind of stuff, like real stuff that's really effective that can support them to help them overcome a problem, to help them tackle a problem, to help empower them, to help them change their mindsets or whatever. This is one of those things that builds rapport really quickly with new people and also prospective people, because I'm going to actually show you two strategies about this, because there's an actual strategy that you would utilize this with people who are not your clients yet, with prospective clients, but also new clients. That what makes a new client get locked in with you is that they really believe not only that their life is changing, but they can see the benefit and value of keeping you, of maintaining that relationship. Here's the next thing, is that having coaching products actually creates multiple on-ramps for people to work with you. Now, here's what I mean by that. Let me go back to my little picture over here. Now, when I was growing up, I grew up in the South, and this is an actual sign that we would always see when we would go to Florida, because Florida was like our thing growing up. I only went like a handful of times when I was growing up because we were quite poor, and we didn't do a whole lot of vacations and everything else. And actually, my family lived around New Orleans when I was growing up. They still do, actually. And so we would go to New Orleans and we would stay for free there, but we might drive all the way to the beach for the day, or maybe spend an overnight because we couldn't really afford hotels, and we'd stay with family in Louisiana the rest of the time. But we would always see this. And so the concept of an on-ramp is really this. I'll show you what I mean by an on-ramp. Like, what is an on-ramp? Well, I don't know how things are in your town, but let's just say that your client's living over here. This is their life. This is their town that they live in, and this is their normal everyday life. But what you're inviting them to do is that you're inviting them to something bigger. You're inviting them to the freeway. And here's their destination right over here. This is who they could see themselves in the future. This is who they maximized, who they actually could be. But what we want to have for these people is we want to have multiple on-ramps for them. And what do I mean by multiple on-ramps? What I'm really talking about with multiple on-ramps is we have multiple ways that somebody could become a client. So for some of you who are like, well, I'm just going to have one-on-one clients, that might be a really big gap. That's a really, really big on-ramp for them to go to. They may not be ready to go after this major thing, but you know what they might be able to do? They might take a minor thing because you offered an online course. They might, so if this is a course, they might be willing to do some webinars with you. They're not a one-on-one client, but they might do some webinars with you. You know what they might do? They might be willing to do some group coaching or something like that. See, if you only offer one on-ramp, that's a much bigger gap. It's a much bigger step for people to be able to take. That might actually take building rapport and building trust over months instead of maybe a week or two. So what we want to do is that we want to create multiple opportunities, because here's what happens is that if they do a course with you, if they just even do a webinar with you, there's somebody watching right now that just did a simple Zoom with people who did not know him a week ago, signed a high-paying client, did another one, signed another high-paying client as a result of it, just with a handful of people in the room. We're not talking about you have to have 500 people in the room, just you have a handful. And you know what ends up happening is that because we have to understand that for a coaching relationship to be born, is that on that person's part, there has to be a certain degree of readiness. And I say that pain point has to be 8 or higher for them to get it readiness. But they also, on the coach's side, and this is what your responsibility is, they have to trust you. They have to like you. They have to believe that you have the expertise, that there's something in you, something that they see that can help them get the solution that they want in their life. And you know what? Sorry, but your social media posts are not going to do that. Sorry, but only in and of themselves, your social media posts are not going to do that. Your videos are not going to do that. Your emails are not, that's not the only thing. That's part of it. But what we've got to do is if we create multiple on-ramps, you know what we can do? We can accelerate the trust. Because if somebody comes through, because this is what he's on here right now, he can tell you about it because he's excited. And not to, and his name's Harvey. You'll probably see him commenting. Here's the crazy thing. He's in his 70s and he's killing it. So for some of you who think, well, I'm in my 40s, could I do this? Well, you know what? He's crushing it, and he's taking all of your excuses away, quite frankly. So here's the thing about a webinar. You know what happens for a webinar? Low risk, right? I just show up. What's my job as a coach? Build trust, build likability, show a certain level of expertise, actually help someone. Now, somebody will take that step before they'll take that one-on-one step. But that's a really big, important thing. Because somebody might read some posts, they might see some Instagram pictures, and everybody's got to do their thing where they're filtered, and nobody on Instagram seems to look like they really look. And that's a hurdle that people create for themselves. That if they just offered a few things that would accelerate this process, because what has to happen is that there needs to be an exchange that takes place. I can't just get on social media and be like, oh, I got 500 views on this video. Did you get a client out of that? What you want is an exchange. Even what we're doing tonight. Like, I read people's comments and everything else. You know, I have to do a lot of training tonight and everything because I want to help you. But I'm not just here just to sit here talking. I'm a normal, everyday person spending my time with you tonight. And you know what? You get to make a decision about me either today or in the next few months. That, hey, I can trust Paul, I like Paul, and maybe he's got some expertise, or not. You'll make a decision. And some of you will click off before the video ends because you didn't buy into me, and that's fine. But this is how we do it. It's why we do it. But we have to know that there's a reason why we do it, and also how this really works. Because I'm not talking about the people who do the salesy shenanigan, snake oil salesman kind of thing. I'm not talking about that at all. None of us like that. I'm never going to be that because it's not who I am in real life. One thing is for certain is anybody who meets me at Walmart, anybody who meets me in line at, the coffee place or anything else, Paul Dabdu is the same person everywhere that you find me. I am exactly the same person. Always. I'm always excited because one thing that I can tell you about Arabs is that we only have an on and off switch. We're never going to be in the middle. We're either going to be completely off or we're going to be completely on. And when people see me out and about, they will either see me off or they will see me on, but they will consistently see who I am. Now, here's the other thing is that you create multiple on-ramps for people to work with you. And you know what ends up happening is that you maximize your time. And you know what ends up happening is that you help more people. Because the problem with what's going on over here, when we look back at this thing, is we're talking about you want to change the world, you want to see people's lives change. How are you going to do that with only a reach of 5 people maximum on a week? See, I think that some of you you're underselling yourself, and I don't mean in a salesy way. I think that some of you have an ability. You have something to bring to the world. You're supposed to leave as much. Listen, the hair's standing up on my arms right now, so I know that I'm speaking to someone. Listen, some of you who are in this room, you are not impacting, you are not influencing the world to the level that you should be. You're made for more than what you're doing. You're made for more than this 5 people. Now, I know some people say, what's all important about the one and everything else? I get that. But listen, would you rather change 100 people's lives or 5 people's lives? I mean, it's a very real, because changed life is exponential. Because if I see 5 people's lives change, then I know a lot of other people's lives are going to change as a result. But if I could change 100 people's lives, I'm going to choose 100 people every time, because that's probably going to have an exponential impact as well. It won't just be 5 people that would turn into 50 people. What I'm talking about is if I can get 100 people, then we're hitting the thousands then out of that 100 people. Why can't we think that way? Why can't we think a little bit bigger and say, listen, don't be selfish about your life. Don't be selfish about the giftings that God's given you in your life for this world. Let's spend ourselves. Let's completely, if we can spend our lives, let's do it. But you can't spend your life when you only have 5 hours a week, only investing in 5 people. When I can show you another way that can help you maximize your impact with people while at the same time increasing your revenue along the way. So let me go back to this really quick, and we'll because we got to move on a little bit faster than what I'm going, because I want you to be able to help more people. I want you to maximize your time, and I want you ultimately to help more people as you're doing it. And you know what that means? It means that what you're going to have is something that is easier to package and it's easier to sell, because people don't understand what coaching is. I'm going to show you next week on this. I'm going to talk about the first week of everything about creating this product and how you do it. Man, I'm going to show you next week examples of what coaches are doing right now. No one understands what coaching is, and then coaches say things that people don't even understand and they don't relate to, and they make it so hard on themselves to get that is something that would be a no-brainer for people. Like when people talk in a plain kind of way about what their coaching actually helps people solve in their life, it's really easy. Like it's a no-brainer. Like, oh yeah, I would like to have less procrastination in my life. I'd like to have less fear in my life. I'd like to have more confidence in my life. That's a no-brainer. But we make it so hard. Coaches make it so hard because they're not simple. And so what I'm going to show you with these products in just a second is that they're actually easier to package and they're easier to sell than I want to sell would you like to buy a coaching package? I always get this question. How much should I charge for a coaching package? Well, what's your coaching package? 4 sessions for $400. Who wants to do that? You're trying to sell something that's time for money. What does it do? That's what the product allows you to describe. What am I buying? 4 for $400. I'm paying this person $100 an hour for what? Because coaches do a really bad job of actually explaining that. I'm going to show you that in just a second. Here's the last thing, is that ultimately what we're talking about means more money with less time and less overhead for your business. So how do we actually do this? I realize I've got a slide that's out of order, so I'm going to fast forward really quick and get to that point, and then I'm going to have to go back in time. So forgive me. So here's some coaching product ideas that we're going to talk about, and I'm going to show you how they actually maximize your revenue. One, it's really easy, is online courses. You don't have to be great with technology. You can be very basic with technology. Everything that I did when I was first going online and some of the things that we were doing, very basic technology. If you would have seen some of the things that I was doing when I was originally going virtual and everything else, I literally would go in a pantry and do things because it's the best sound that I could get in my house. And it was also keeping me away from the noise from the kids. People don't care about fancy. They really don't. Online courses is one of those things. Facebook groups. Yes, I've known coaches for years that that charge thousands of dollars for people to be in their Facebook group, just a place for them to connect. You can have webinars. I kind of mentioned that a while ago. You can have workshops. You can have live workshops in your area. You could have online workshops. You can have group coaching. You can coach a whole group of people. You can have challenges, 5-day challenges, 10-day challenges, 30-day challenges, 90-day challenges. Listen, and all of these things that you see here can be combined to add features and value. Now, how does all of this work? Well, let me show you how it works. And then I'm going to unpack this a little bit more, and then I'm going to answer any questions that you guys have. So when I talk about multiple on-ramps, what did we say a while ago? If this person, this fictitious coach, it could be you, is charging $50 an hour, then they're going to make $12,000 in a year. That's what we see right now. You know why? Because again, they only have 5 to 10 hours a week to work on their business. So that means that at $100 an hour, they're going to make $24,000 in a year. Or if they only charge 50 because they don't have the confidence to charge 100, they're going to make 12,000. Let me show you how easy it is to make this if you have products. Everybody ready? It's going to be really, really simple. Let's imagine that you decide, you know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to just do one-on-one coaching. I'm going to do group coaching. Now, group coaching, these people may or may not know each other before it, but what do we have? What do we have in group coaching? Well, we have a problem that people want to solve, and everybody who's in the group wants to solve a problem, okay? Now, let's imagine in this group, because what is your regular price point per hour? You know, $100 an hour might be steep for somebody. But you know what happens? Coaches who only charge one-on-one, they just haven't built enough rapport with somebody to get them to go one-on-one, which is what I would consider VIP coaching at that point, because you only have a limited amount of hours to work with somebody, right? Because you only have what? You have 5 hours a week. Now watch this. If I do group coaching, and let's say that the group coaching is weekly, and it's 1 hour a week. But what if I have, it's $47 a week to be in it, as opposed to 100. And what do I get? What if I had 10 people? Because I can have as many people as I want. Now watch what happens. 10 people at $47. You know what I got? $470 a week. And how many hours did I spend? I spent 1 hour doing that. You understand what I'm talking about here? You help 10 people in less time than it would take you to work an entire week with 5 people. And you know what I just did, giving you that $470 for 1 hour a week? You know what we did? We just hit your $24,000 a year goal with 1 hour a week. I'm not exaggerating this because it's not a lot of money. It's $47, but maximizing your time and helping more people and actually having an on-ramp, because somebody may not be ready to pay $100 an hour. They may not be able to, they're not ready to go like full blast. But you know what happens is that this is low risk enough that they're like, well, here's a problem that I actually have, and there's a solution that I believe could come out of this group. You know what? For $47, I'll take that. I'll go in with these people. I'll commit for a few months to be in this 8-week group coaching, 12-week. You know, I know some people that all they do are groups. They don't even do one-on-one, because the upside is they're helping tons of people. I know one coach that I trained myself, and they live in this local area, and they do multiple groups every week. So they got like 10 people in every group. If they're only charging, and I don't know what they're charging, I don't think they're charging this little, but we're talking about somebody who's probably making $1,000, $2,000 a week, maybe $3,000 a week, just with a couple of groups. That's it. And if you want to do that, what have you done? You've maximized your ability to influence and change people's lives, but you've also maximized your revenue. Because here's the truth, is that this is as far as the thing can go right here. While you're working full time, I totally understand. If 5 hours is all you've got, then the only ticket that you have is to keep raising this rate over and over and over again. And I'm not going to tell you that you don't do that. But what I am saying is that you are going to be stuck. What you've really done is that you create a ceiling that you can't get through if you're only offering one kind of way. And here's the other thing. You're only offering one way for you to be able to help people. What if you offered group coaching? What if you did webinars? What if you did an online course? You'll have that initial work. We had one of our coaches, I remember this is years ago. This is like, I remember one of the first coaches that I saw do something online. He didn't buy any courseware. He made some videos. He made 8 videos one time. And you know what he did? Is that he put a post out there on social media saying, hey, I'm going to do this 8-week group on this. Here's what you're going to have access to. I'm going to put you in a Facebook group, and I'm going to upload a video every week, and I'll interact with you in the Facebook group. He didn't even go live with them. And he filled up that group over and over again. And you know what? He didn't even have to make new videos. He kept reusing the videos because he made them evergreen. He didn't make them dated or anything else. And he kept making money off of the initial work that he had put in. Listen, this isn't rocket science. You have something to give to the world, but you've got to package it in more ways than you just going live with people, because we only have so many hours a day to change the world. And let me tell you this, is that your primary mission in your life is going to be your husband. It's going to be your wife. It's going to be your children. It's going to be your family. It's not going to be people out in the world. And I hope that you actually have time to invest in your family. And this is one of the things that coaching allows us to do, is that we can maximize who we are to the world, because I believe that you are supposed to make a dent in the world. Your primary calling in your life is for your family, and I believe your secondary calling is to the world. But we might as well use everything that we've got. We might as well use every resource that we have. Listen, you can have a video, you can have a reach to people right now that people would have dreamed of having years ago. You know, there's people who've had great ideas, great book ideas, all kinds of different things, and they've only helped a few people. You have no excuse for not maximizing your life, not just from the income standpoint, but how can we help as many people as we possibly can in the amount of time that we in the amount of time that we have with our life. Listen, I turned 48 years old this year. I'm only looking future. I expect to be around for the next 50 years. My family is set. If I go, I'm actually worth more money if I die, quite frankly. But they're set. Everything's in order, but I'm going to run as fast as I can. But you know what's true? I told my daughter this past week. We were flying, and I had put the kids in charge of, like my oldest kids in charge. And I say kids. I have a 24-year-old, an 18-year-old, and almost 10-year-old. And so leaving them in charge. And I said, listen, I don't expect anything to happen. I'm planning on being around for the next 50 years. But the truth is that we're flying, and I'm flying with your mom. Here's where you can find the life insurance stuff. Here's some recommendations that I would make. And 2 last things that I would like to tell you in your life. One, and I told them some inspiring things really quickly about their purpose in life. And the second thing that I told them is that if I die, don't mourn over me, because when my head hits the pillow, I know that I did everything that I was supposed to do on the planet. I am at peace in my life if it goes. But if I get one more day, you better believe I'm going to try to change as many lives as I possibly can. And I hope that you walk up. Listen, our lives make no sense if we don't have some ambition about them. And I believe that every one of you are probably having a limited mark on the planet compared to what you were actually made to do. So let me say just a couple of more things. Let me make some differentiation, because there's different ways that you can do these different kinds of products. And the differences really are free versus entry versus VIP, because you can use them all. Free, when I say free, When you offer something free off of your website, a webinar, a workshop, any of those other things, what it's allowing you to do is to actually build a rapport with someone that you may not have a relationship with. Now, some people do this, but they do it like snake oil salesmen. And you know what they do? They do a bait and switch, and you don't want to do a bait and switch. Anything that I have ever done, you guys come here free on a Monday. Some of you have never been to our school, have no relationship with us. You never comment and you never like anything. That's fine. But one thing that is true is that if you're ever around anything that we don't do fluffy stuff. We don't do fluffy workshops. I don't do fluffy lives. Anything that you spend anytime, you give me 5 minutes of your life, 5 minutes of your time, I make it worth your while. I know that. I'm always going to give people more value than they're ever going to give me. I know that. It's how I'm hardwired. And this is the way that we build credibility in this world, who are always doing a bait and switch. Do not do a video, do not do a live, do not do a Zoom and pretend like somebody's going to get something and then tell them that they're going to get it later. Give them something. I understand you can't give people everything that you've got. I'm not saying that. Limit your time. I give at least 40 minutes to an hour every week on a Mentor Monday. And I give people stuff that they can instantly utilize. Like the stuff that you get, you can use it on Tuesday. You get it on a Monday, you can use it Tuesday morning. You can use it in your life. You can use it in your practice and everything else. Everything that I'm giving you tonight, you can utilize. But what we have to do, and because I want you to take your cues from me, and if you can emulate anything that I do, is that I understand that what I am here to do is to serve people first and foremost. If you will have your hand open to serve people, it will never be empty when it comes to money. That has to be your driving force. If you're money obsessed and you're worried about not having money and everything else, scarcity is never going to be a great motivation for your business or anything else, because we're not scarce people unless we believe that. If you will give, you will receive. And so the more you give, you know what you're doing? You're sowing more so that you've got more that you're going to receive in the future. And so what I'm really talking about here is that you want to do what you say you're going to do and focus on serving people, that you're going to earn business. So if you're going to do a free thing, just don't BS people on it. Actually do what you say you're going to do. Hey, I'm going to give you 3 keys that's going to help your business. I'm going to give you 3, whatever it is, just follow through. Because if you do not, if you follow what these other people tell you to do on these webinars and everything else, and they say, well, you do it like this, then you know what you're going to do? You're going to lose credibility with people really quickly. Yes, there are some suckers in the world who will go after, but you know what? If you didn't give me something that I could actually implement in my life, I'm really like, here's the thing about coaching. Coaching's an experience. If they can experientially get something from you that actually benefited them in their life, then they're more apt to believe that once they pay for something, there's going to be something on the other side. Now, we also, besides free, you're going to have some things that are entry level. And so when I say entry level products, these are things that, again, give you an opportunity to build rapport with someone you may not have a relationship with, but these are the price points lower. Like when I talk about group coaching, we're talking about $47 as opposed to someone paying $100 or $400 or something like that. So when somebody is looking at it, they're like, you know what? Sounds like this is a really good plan. I'm not ready for this, but I'll do this. And so they see it as something of value, but they don't feel the risk. They're not feeling the pinch of it. And they're like, you know what? For $47, let's just see what you got. And you know what? What I always see is that when people would come in at that lower price point, they always say, I can't believe what we got for this. I feel like I've literally had people tell us in our school, because our price point's pretty low, I feel like I should pay you more money. I feel like I'm stealing. I've heard all of these things. Anybody who's probably on this thing live that has spent a live boot camp weekend knows that I give you more than what you pay for. I'm committed to that. And I'm not worried about that. You know why? Because that's abundance for me. I'm investing. You're going to change the world, and I never have to worry about going broke, because I'm just going to keep investing and build a reputation on being someone who serves people. And that is also going to give me a relationship with you, and there's going to be trust that's earned, so that maybe our relationship continues. Maybe when you have challenges and you can come back, or maybe you refer somebody. I don't know. Like, I don't have an agenda for somebody to keep buying stuff. what's important to me is that we have real legitimate relationships, and we can do that virtually because I have relationships all over the world through this school, through this platform, and everything else. But what happens is that right now you've got people who, they're not ready to make $100 decision with you or $400 decision, but they might make a $47 decision with you. They might make a $27 decision with you. I don't know, but that's where we've got to begin. And so entry level things look like that. The next thing is that you've got to give them great value, because you know what? If you exceed their expectations, you've built greater trust. So exceed people's expectations. Don't be scarce. I'm not saying that if you do a 1-hour webinar that you're supposed to stay on there for 3 hours. Don't do that. That's foolishness. You're acting like your time doesn't mean anything. But when you're there, burn and give people the most value. Make them like, oh, I can't believe what I got out of this. This is ridiculous. Like, those are the kinds of comments that you want people to walk away with. And so what entry-level products do is that they build a bridge to what we would say are your VIP things, which leads me to, what does a VIP product kind of look like? Well, VIP products basically give clients the most features and benefits that you have to offer. Now, I'm not saying that we're withholding helping people. That's not what VIP means. VIP means is that essentially they're going to get more of you. The price tag is justified because it's higher, because at the end of the day, it's requiring more work of you, more of your time. If you went to a Tony Robbins Date with Destiny, that's going to set you back a few $1,000s. I know that because I've got some friends who've gone. Worth their time. You sit down with Tony one-on-one, I guarantee you that's going to cost you tens of thousands of dollars. You would have to expect that if somebody gets someone, because their time is valuable, because the clock's running all the time for every one of us. And so that's the way that you've got to start honoring yourself. You've got to train people how to treat you. Don't just start schlepping your one-on-one time out there for $20 or $25 or whatever. You're telling people that you don't have a high value, but you can create ways of serving people to the best of your ability. And then if those products doesn't help them, you know what? You've got something else that you can offer. You could add VIP and some of this one-on-one stuff to be add-ons to some of the products that you have. Or, do a monthly 1-hour check-in to a particular group or something like that. You can mix and match any of these things that you possibly that you want. Your time is scarce. There's only so many hours out of the week. Right now, again, you have 5 hours probably. So don't blow it. The primary objective of products is to serve people and serve people better. And your live one-on-one time should be explosive. And if you've given them great added features to help them, then it really will be. So that is it. What we're going to do next week. Now, listen, this Wednesday, I'm starting this with our Jumpstart students. So what do we have in this thing? Well, this is part of our regular Jumpstart program. Our Jumpstart program not only allows you to get trained and certified, but we have hundreds of hours for you to be able to get trained, build your business. We give you the step-by-step, the A to Z on how to build your business. This is a new addition that we're bringing in because I see that it's really important. And I've got to teach you guys how to do this because I want you to crush it. I don't want you being a struggling coach. There's no reason for it. There's no excuse to be a struggling coach. There's 7.5 billion people on the planet. You only need about 5 to become a 6-figure coach, quite frankly. And this is not rocket science. But sometimes you need somebody to give you the steps and to give you the support. And that's what we've really done with our Jumpstart program. That you have weekly group coaching calls, that we have an online community. Our group is always interacting. They're always celebrating each other's success. You should see some of the things that happen during our group. They're amazing people who are incredibly supportive, and they're all over the world, but they're always cheering one another on. They share each other's phone numbers. They connect all the time offline and everything else. So you're not doing this thing alone. I know what it's like when your family doesn't know what you do and they don't believe in it and they're questioning it and everything else. That's part of the reason why we created this. But starting this Wednesday and through the month of June and July, what we're going to be focused on is this mini course called coaching product launch blueprint. So there's going to be 8 live sessions in this. And I'm going to show you how to develop your coaching product. I'm going to show you how to craft your messaging, sales page, and emails. I have a very high open rate for the emails that we send for this school. I've been able to, anybody that I've ever worked with on emails have been able to triple, quadruple the opens on their email and the interactivity that's in there. I'm going to share all of those secrets with you because it's stuff that actually works and it's stuff that I actually utilize now. Besides the messaging part, I'm going to show you how to choose a funnel strategy for your product launch, and they will differ from person to person. I'm going to show you how to create a build for your launch, and I'm going to give you a lot of tips, a lot of tools, etc. Everything else in Jumpstart is included in this. It's $97 a month with a 3-month minimum commitment. Because if you guys don't know what's in Jumpstart, this is what's in Jumpstart. Life coach training, life coach certification, your free listing on lifecoachmatch.com. You get a live online weekend boot camp where you can get trained, certified in a single weekend. And we also have live Q&As at the end of each one of those sessions. We have Brand Camp, which is 13 hours just focused on branding to show you how to enhance your marketing messaging on your social media, on your website, all of those things. I show you how to write emails, optimize your website for search engines, all of that. There's core modules of Jumpstart that give you the A to Z on how to build your business. And every Wednesday, I go live with the students who are part of that program. And I also give feedback on anything that anybody's working on, whether it's their website, whether it's a video that they've put together or whatever. We do all of those things. You don't have to do this thing alone. You really don't. And we take all of your excuses away because it's time to get on with life. For some of you who are already 40 years old, 50 years old, what are you waiting on? 40 years is the first 40 years of practice. When I turned 40, it was finally the time when I was like, I don't give a crap what anybody thinks anymore. I'm going for this thing. It's time to go after this thing. I don't know how much time we have left. We might as well utilize it. We might as well make it happen. There's a link inside the description that when you enroll in Jumpstart, you'll automatically be enrolled in this new program that we're doing. I say mini course that we're going to be putting together and working with the students over the next 2 months. Now, next Monday, I'm going to give you the first session of that. For those of you who are late, I should say it's going to be a condensed version of that first session. Can't give you the whole first session because there's going to be a lot involved in interactivity with what I'm going to be doing with our students. But listen, I don't want you to miss this. The only reason that I'm doing this is because I want you to crush it. I could rest on my laurels because Jumpstart's already amazing and it's doing good and people are crushing it. And I'll sleep well at night either way. But I'm committed to making this thing better. And I'm committed to you crushing it as a coach, successfully in skills, but also in business. Click that link, get signed up. Let's quit procrastinating. Let's quit giving into fear. Let's quit giving into self-doubt. Listen, this is very low risk. Most programs are costing you charging thousands of dollars just to get trained and certified with no guarantees of anything. And you know what we're talking about? We're talking about $97 a month. You get all of that, and we're not leaving you by yourself to do it. I can't do the work for you, but I can tell you that I can guarantee that you'll never do it alone because we're here. So let me say hello to a few people who have said hello to us in here. It's a lot of people have been saying stuff in here. So let me go back in time on this. Tara says, I gave up getting my nails done monthly for Jumpstart. Best investment ever. Oh, I love that. Tamala says, this has been very powerful and informative presentation. The light bulb just flashed on. So good. Awesome. Faye says, love this. Thank you. Needed to hear this. James joining us from Wisconsin. Thank you. Roxana says, awesome stuff as usual. Vicky says, I do feel like I am stealing. Paul gives a lot of value. Thank you. Vicky's been in our Jumpstart program, and she just went through boot camp recently, which was awesome. Donnell says, multiple on-ramps was wow. That's so good. Kareen says, powerful. Thank you. Let me see. Let me go back in time a little bit more. Let's see. Tara said, what is it? Tara says, that moment when you feel so excited to get a group started. So good. Taisha from Missouri. Angela says, I didn't know that Facebook allowed charging to be in groups. How does that work? Well, he was charging people offline. I mean, like online, but not through Facebook. So that was one of the features that he added in. And he was just simply using Facebook to be able to manage the group and allowing people to do that. Honestly, there's so many online platforms that people can use that cost little or nothing to do this, that you don't even have to do that, as far as that's concerned. Tara says, thank you, Paul, and thank God for this session. I've been praying about finding the way to get going and maximize my time. So good. James says, you are doing God's work. May God bless you. Thank you. Appreciate that. Lynn says, Paul's the best, so inspirational and knowledgeable. He's the real deal. Thank you. There's Teresa from San Diego. All right. Let me go back in time. Bill says Jumpstart is powerful and dynamic. Harvey says you just signed Gloria Kaiser. Stacy said this has been a wealth of information. Bill says awesome presentation. And obviously this link will instantly be a replay that you guys can get to as well. Awesome. All right. Hey, does anybody have any questions before we head out? Any questions before we head out? I want to remind you one more time, this link to get enrolled, and not only enrolled in Jumpstart, but you'll also, we're starting this Wednesday. So not too late. And here's the deal. So we're recording Wednesday. So all that's also accessible in terms of accessible as self-paced, because I know some people have different schedules. One of the things that's great for all of our programs is you can do everything self-paced. And I'd say 97% of our students actually choose self-paced with regard to Jumpstart and everything else. But this is starting Wednesday. And so if you want to be a part of it, I would love to welcome you in. This is a perfect time to join Jumpstart right now and to just start crushing it. Cassie says, thanks. What else do I see here? Thank you for another amazing class. Cool. Wait till Wednesday. You're welcome, Vicki. All right. Well, I am going to assume that is it. So again, get enrolled. Links inside of the description. Hope to see you on Wednesday. And it is 80 something degrees in here. Hopefully I'm not like sweating too profusely and glowing everywhere. But we never run AC while we're going live. And that's part of my sacrifice on a Monday, that if it's hot in California, I'm just going to wear it, I suppose. I don't know. So anyway, Greg says, will that be the same time on Wednesday? So Wednesdays, for those of you who are wondering, are 5:30 p.m. Pacific time, 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern. So that's when our regular call is every Wednesday. So for those of you who are actually thinking about this, that's when we do it. And so that's also when we're going to be doing the training, rather than spending a weekend or whatever. What I'm going to do is we're going to break it up, and that way you'll have your tools and assignments or whatever that goes along with that. And it'll give you a week to work on that, to put it together, so that when we come back the following week, then you've got really a momentum in it. And so, you know what we'll have after 8 weeks, you'll have a product put together. And you know what you'll have? You'll also have a template for any kind of product launch that you want to do. So this is applicable for webinars, courses, challenges, all of that stuff. This is what we're going to actually work on over the next 8 weeks. All right, everyone. Well, listen, I appreciate you guys all immensely. Have a great rest of your week. Click this link, get enrolled, and I will see you on Wednesday. Take care.